What's going on, people? It's Timmy Joe. Normally I would maybe talk up, give you a funny intro or something, or I would have showed you some sort of montage of me building the computer case I'm about to review, but in this particular instance there's absolutely no reason to have any BS, because this Lian Li Lancool II is absolutely without a doubt the best computer case ever. Well, probably. I'm not even talking out of my butt. This thing's amazing, and we're going to just dive right into it because there's a lot to talk about. So cue up an intro or something and then jump right back to this exact spot.
Oh yeah.
Quick tech, yeah. So many things to talk about here, and I really hope this video gets a lot of views because people need to know about this particular product, and I don't see that too many big YouTubers have really looked at it yet. I might be wrong. I didn't look too hard, but without a doubt, the best case I've ever built in, best case I've ever used, best case for the money, best case for so many reasons, and we'll just jump right into it. So, as a point of reference, I just did a video with another case review, and I kind of did that on purpose because it didn't have a whole lot of bad things to say about the Phoenix Nova TG airflow mesh right here, okay? And this is a retooled computer case for sure that they slapped some tempered glass on and they put a mesh front on it and called it a day, and it's not terrible by any means, but it certainly doesn't do anything to innovate the space, that's for sure. It's just kind of a bone, that they throw you at this particular price range. This is a $90 case, and ouch, sorry, it's heavy. A lot of other manufacturers at that particular price point give it a very close approximation of the way that case is set up. It's an old, retooled case. Maybe they put a different front end on it. They slap a tempered glass panel on it. They put a bunch of RGB fans in it, maybe 3, maybe 4. And for $90, you get a bargain basement deal. And it's kind of a bone the manufacturers throw you at that price range. It's like, oh, you're not willing to spend like more than $100, Well, we'll give you some RGB and you'll be happy with that, right? Corsair does it, Thermaltake, Cooler Master, Phoenix, even Deep Cool's a little bit better for it, and their cases are actually a little bit different, so they're not too bad. But as far as like the $90 price point, you know what you've come to expect. Why do I keep talking about that price point with a Lian Li case? Because that's how much this case costs. It costs $90. It's on pre-order on Newegg right now for $89.99, and there's a white version as well, and I'll get into why this is so good. Okay, here we go. This is an all metal design, tempered glass. There's some RGB in the front there. It's beautiful. It's all matte black. It's very well tooled. It's obviously not some old computer case that they did a couple of things with and threw some RGB fans on. This thing's built from the ground up, and the cost to manufacture and develop this case must have been huge. And I gotta hand it to Lian Li because no one else is doing that. That $90 Corsair case that you buy, and it's like, it's decent. It's probably got 60% margin for Corsair on it at that price point. Like, they're probably making double, what it costs them to make and ship that to your door and develop it and all that. There's no way Lian Li's making much money with this thing at $90 because it's tooled from the ground up to be very innovative, very modular, and very good. It's very good. So I'll stop talking it up and actually get to it. We'll go front to back. Metal panel. In fact, there is no plastic, sorry, there is a little bit of plastic used. I'll just, we'll set front to back, but we'll do this. Oh, there's a drive in that one. There you go. There's plastic drive cages. That's the only plastic in the whole damn thing. Just, spoiler alert, there's a drive cage under there. Anyways, so metal front. We see some nice RGB pouring through the front. included RGB controller, and there's buttons on the top that let you control it, and there is an extra ARGB 3-pin header that you can use for your own stuff that comes off the case. You could probably even split off of it and put a couple extra LED fans in there if you want, or RGB strip, ARGB. It's really nice. There's a separate button for ARGB stuff. See there, a little bit of red bouncing, you got this wavy thing, you got that thing, you got this. And then if you like just a solid color because you're not really big on the RGB thing, there's another button and you have a theme for your build. Just pick the light you like. You like blue or white, there you go. Put the white light on, and that's very unobtrusive, and it's happening without the use of RGB fans, which is really nice. A lot of cases at this price point, that's the lighting system in them, is some RGB fans, and crappy ones at that usually. This case does come with 3 fans at $90. None of them are RGB, but I don't need it. So I'll go ahead and take this panel off the front. RGB lights went off. No wires. And yes, the lighting is in this. You see really nice big grates for airflow intake, and they have dust filters on them that are magnetic and easy to pull off and wash and stick back in, and it's that easy. There you go. And then how did the lights turn off and on then? Well, there's a little board right there. You see it? And it's got some metal contacts on it that then contact these metal contacts right here. Maybe I should put my tongue on it. No. Probably be bad. I'd short circuit it and I'd end up all different colors. But no, that's how it gets its power. Right there. Just pop that back on. And in the 10 takes that I've done of this video and in building this, I've tore this off 100 times and it's still really rigid. Rigid as all hell. It's awesome. So no problems there. So pull that off. There you go. And there's some stuff to talk about in the front here. One fan in the front by default in this nice cage that you put your fans in that is removable, and you can turn it 2 different ways. Have it inset like I have it right here, or you can pull it out, turn that fan around, and have the fans actually protrude into the front panel a bit to gain some more room on the inside if that's something that you need. You don't even really need that though, as we'll see in just a second. There is a lot of room to put rads and stuff in the front of this. So that pretty much covers the front of the case. There's no plastic anywhere here to be seen. Oh, sorry, I'm lying. This little Lian Li down here, it's plastic. I lied. It still looks really good though. So yeah, there's the front of the case. Removable, you could put 3 140 mil or 120 mil fans in the front of here, as well as you can fit a bunch of rads and it'll work out just nice. So that's the front. It has USB 3.0, and if you do want to have a USB-C on the top of your case here, of course it's got audio as well, and a reset button and a power button. You have to buy an extra little bit to put a USB Type-C in there. I don't know a whole lot of people that are using the USB Type-C these days yet, but it's certainly something that's coming up. I personally don't have any, I don't know. It's not a big deal for me to, find a USB-C on the back if need be. A lot of motherboards have that these days, but you can include it if you need it up here. So moving backwards here, this little panel opens up, as we saw. This opens here, and this is a removable hinge design. So if you want to build without this on there, in the way, just pull it right off. When you're done, go ahead and fire it right back on. And it's never that. There we go. It's on. There you go. So we'll keep that on there and go from the forward back. So there's a removable panel here that gives you up to this much room in the basement to put rads. You pull a little screw out of there, and then you have a humongous opening in the front here that will allow you to put a giant rad or a push-pull on a 360 mil AIO, no problem. And then you might say, well, hey, those drive cages there are kind of in the way. Well, it shouldn't be in the way depending on how you set this up for, just a regular 360 mil AIO. But if you're putting some giant rads for a custom loop in there, you can actually remove those drive cages. They're tooled so that you can slide them out. It's really interesting. It's cool. So you can move this all around in here too, depending on how big your power supply is. So lots of thought was put into how this is mounted. It's really nice. And then there is no extended ATX motherboard support in this. Oh well, at $90, not putting a giant Threadripper in here, although maybe you would, because it's that good of a case. So unfortunately, there's a little metal bracket that hides how your cables go into the back of the motherboard, and it's in the way of putting any bigger motherboard in there. And it's a little tight on the bottom and stuff like that. So this isn't really meant for some super high-end Threadripper build with a giant motherboard, but at $90 you wouldn't really expect that, would you? So that's not too big a deal. Then if we're moving backwards here, big opening for your power supply. If you need to get in here and maybe plug an extra modular power cable in there, I love that you have access to that. Or if you want to like show off the computer with the tempered glass open, then you can just close that back up. It's all magnetic too. This is magnetic as well. Boom, it's all stuck closed. So then we want to talk about the back of the case, right? And I bet you're expecting a metal panel at the back. The exact same tooling as the other side of the case. A tempered glass panel and a little door down here that gives you access to everything. Swing this open. Oh my God, those are all covered and it looks awesome. You never see that. You don't see that on $200 cases, man. This is $90 and they put those metal panels on there. There's no way they're making any money with this case. And I love them for it. I love them. You can have 3.5-inch drives down there. There's even a hot swappable board you can put back there so you can pull your 3.5-inch drives in and out of there if you really want. I have it installed there. I haven't played with it yet, but yeah, it's something you can do. Hot swappable drive bay. It's an extra accessory along with the USB-C for the top and a few other things, but it's $90 pretty much as it comes here with that little board there. So keep that in mind. You can put a big power supply in here if you need to. You just have to push that drive cage forward or remove it entirely if maybe you want to hide some water pumps and stuff like that down there. Totally could do that. And then 2.5-inch drive bays there and there. So 4 of them in total. You can remove this and it's hiding all of that motherboard wiring up here. You can remove this and it's hiding all of the power cable and other wires on this side. And there's enough room back here that it was very easy to be lazy with cable management. And there's even included Velcro strips to lock everything down underneath here. It's really, really good. So that's the back for the most part. Where's the downside of this case? I can't find it. Moving along to the back. Oh wait, I found the first downside. Well, there's no ARGB fans included. They're pretty good fans that are included with it. They are only DC though, they're not PWM. And they're blowing at max RPM with this Asus motherboard for some reason. I had to go into the BIOS and do some stuff. That might just be the Asus motherboard I'm using, but it's a Strix. I have a Ryzen 3600 system built in here. But yeah, around the back, the first little problem, there's no vertical GPU mount. Aw. That's a little bit of an oversight. So what, we got no vertical GPU mount. What's the other problem? There's no ARGB fans included, but it has RGB and a controller included that looks better than the fans I think do. It's a really interesting design. Where's the other downsides to this case? I don't know. So at the top, you can do 220 mil fans, or you can do 240 mil fans. And there's plenty of room for the fans up there. As far as putting an AIO's rad up there, it's gonna be a little bit tight. It's possible for sure, but it's going to be tight. I could see it fitting in there as long as you're not using a big cooler, and obviously if you're using an AIO, you're not. So there should be enough room in there because there's cases wide enough to do that. So you're actually going to be in front of your motherboard putting those things up there, which is great. You can only put 120 mil fan at the back. As it sits here, this is how it was set up. One fan in the front, in the middle, and one blowing out the top here and one blowing out the back here. As far as GPU thermals, you'd probably want to install the other fans in the front, or maybe you just want to put all your fans in the front, all 3 that come with this, or install a few more of your own. It's up to you, but I don't see it being any issue with how it's configured because there is a fair amount of airflow in this design. It's pretty awesome. You can even put here fans exhausting from here up onto your graphics card if that's what you want to do, because there's tooling to put fans in here. So they've thought about it. If you have a hot graphics card, they have a way of pulling some air from the bottom basement. And if you have, this fan on the bottom here, it's gonna, let a little bit of extra airflow from the front get up into the GPU. So they've thought of everything. There's really no downsides to this case. So, am I covering everything here? Ryzen 3600 system in here. I was going to build this whole system in this case as more of the video, the $1,000 1440p system in an amazing case, but this case definitely deserves a review all on its own. As far as anything else, I think I've covered it all here. talked for certainly long enough. It's such a solid case, and why I say it's the best of all time is because it would be a pretty good case at $200. It would be a pretty good case if it didn't come with any fans. It would be a pretty good case at $90 or even a little bit more if it didn't have that RGB in the front. It would be a pretty good case if it was just sort of set up normal with regular tempered glass panels that you have to screw into. But it's a completely from the ground up design here, and they tooled all this metal that's really solid, hardcore metal with magnets. It all slams together. The fit and finish on it is amazing. It feels amazing. And they could have sold this for $250, and it wouldn't have been as exciting, but it certainly would have, sold. But they're selling it for $90. And that is why this is the best case of all time, because it checks every box except for vertical GPU support. I like that they used black fans and put the RGB in the front and made it really cool and tasteful, just in case that's what you want, instead of a bunch of Chuki fans that are cheap and come with the case. Where's the button? There we go. Speaking of RGB, there we go. We got some nice RGB going on. So I'm at Watch Timmy Joe, Instagram and Twitter. I very much recommend this case at $90. It is the deal of the century. It's beautiful. It makes me it literally makes me want to swap my main system into this when I have a $250 case from MSI currently that's a lot bigger, but has a lot of similar features to this, as in tempered glass on both sides. It has a much nicer front panel than that MSI case. It has much better airflow consideration. Yeah, that case is bigger and there's a little bit better custom water cooling support with it, but you can't even put a 360 mil rad in the front of it very easily. This thing has it all. It has it all. It's beautiful. Go buy it. That's all I gotta say. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks, Lian Li. Something like this doesn't come around very often, and you guys knocked it out of the park.